Hello, this is Rico with Maker Code, and today they're finally done. I've turned spools of filament into these three helmets. I have Deadpool, two different sizes. One is for my son, who's 3, and then for me. Basically, we asked my son, what do you want to do? What do you want to be for Halloween? He said, Deadpool. I'm like, oh, you're 3? I didn't even know you knew what Deadpool was, but why not do it? I get a reason to 3D print some helmets, and everybody's been 3D printing these helmets, so, it gave me a great opportunity. And so since he wanted to be Deadpool, he wanted to use swords and stuff, I decided, okay, I'll do Wolverine for myself. But at the same time, I printed another Deadpool helmet. And so basically, I needed to size the helmet to our heads. And it would have been really difficult to really scale down to a kid-size head, not knowing where to even start. So I first printed a helmet to my size head. So where did I get these prints from? I went to, there was Yosh and there was Do 3D. Everybody seemed to be using D3D, so I thought, okay, I'll use that one. Everything is magnetic, so they all break apart. Like so. It makes the helmet easy to put on. Yes. Oh. And I'm doing it blindly. It's not the easiest thing. And also, it barely fits. And when I mean barely, I mean if I talk or move my cheeks, it doesn't quite fit. But it's on. And so that's kind of where I had to start. I had to figure out what size do I need to use for my head. So the initial description when you download and buy this model said that it would fit a 24-inch head. So at 100%, I should be able to fit that. I then took the sizing head. I forget where I saw this video, but basically I think it's Thingiverse, there's a head, and they give 3 different size heads. Shove the head into the model and see if it'll fit your head. Measure the circumference and you get a rough estimate of your head. I measured around 23.5 inches. The DO3D said it was a 24-inch model, so it should have fit my head. But then when I was doing the sizing model, I found that it didn't. So actually, I scaled this up to 108%. And I wish I'd done just a little bit bigger, maybe 109 to fit my head. So that 24 inches, way off. I don't know where that number came from. But I printed that one initially just to see if it would fit my head. And then based on how far off this was from my head, I knew how to scale it down to his size head. And this one comes out perfect. But the only thing he complains about with this guy was with the supports being inside here, he didn't like the little texture that comes out of the 3D print on his head. He said it was itchy all the time. So I took some foam that also has adhesive on the back, and I put that in there. And yeah, he seems happy with that. He also has the spandex suit that is for Deadpool, and that one came with a mask that was material, and he honestly likes that one more. And really, when he puts this on, it's kind of unproportional to his head. It looks like he's a big fat head wearing this, but it's a 3D model. He gets to wear it if he wants. If he doesn't, he can wear his mask one. And I got to have fun doing a 3D model. I then decided, okay, I have the Deadpool helmet, but we're not both going to be Deadpool, so I'll do the Wolverine one. And the Wolverine one was a little more tricky. I printed these parts out as a single piece, and there were options. Again, I went with the DO3D one to break this up into multiple pieces, but I thought, I'll just print this as a single piece. And what I found was it was very difficult to fit this onto the build plate. And so when I tried to get these to fit on the build plate, you had to angle them in weird directions. So it's kind of sitting here on the build plate like this, and I have to tilt it in just the right amount of tilt and just the right amount of rotation. Barely gets it to fit at 108%, I think is what it was at, or 106% for this one. Again, I use a sizing model head. And what you do is you put that into something like Bamboo Studio or Cura. You put both the 3D model of the head and also the model itself. You shove the two into each other, and then you look at the gap to make sure your head would fit in there versus your head being absorbed into the helmet, which means it's too small and you need to scale it up. You keep scaling it until to the point where you get your head to fit. But if it's just perfect like this one, my ears are rubbing against this, so everything just amplifies in sound. It's not very fun. So you want to oversize it a little bit. Don't try to go for perfect. And then you could put some foam in there to kind of reinforce it. So on this guy, it's a little bit bigger now. A little too big, but I can put foam in here. So now you can see it wobbles around. And then when I put these pieces on, again, these are really difficult to do blindly without a mirror. Kind of using the monitors to do this. Oh no. I'll have some play now, and then I can put some foam in there to make it fit better. So that's kind of what it looks like with the helmet on. And what I'm finding with this one is if I wiggle too much, the pieces are starting to rattle off that I'm worried they're going to fall off during trick-or-treating. So I might put some Velcro or something in here just to kind of give it a little bit more rigidity when I'm walking around. But you kind of get the gist of what they look like now. After I got them all 3D printed, weathering was kind of the next step. On the Deadpool one, super easy. I took some black cheap paint, diluted it down with some water, kind of used some brushes to get these fine lines here, and then just kind of dabbed it on. And it was so easy that even my son was able to put that on. So then we had this one all done. We did it same with this. He actually took over and just did it himself. It was so easy. So again, you just kind of use a paintbrush on the lines itself, and then kind of just smear it all on, and then just dab it off with a rag. There's a whole video on that too that I'll have to show you all that, and you get that. And so the black on red, really easy to do. Only takes like 15-20 minutes. Then these ones here, you don't have to weather at all, and they have a bunch of different eyes, so you can have a leathered or a smooth look. My son didn't like the restricted eye view, so I took the white out. And here, it's like a large piece that you put in here, but that print hasn't come out very good right now, and I'm still deciding even if I want that, because this one has like even a squintier eye than these, and these are already pretty small. So still deciding how I'm going to do the eyes for nighttime, because I plan to use it at night, and then after that, I'll give these away or something, but put the eye piece back in there. So weathering on this was real quick and easy. This one required a little more effort, and what I had was on Tested, they had pictures of the actual suit used in the Wolverine movie, so I got to see a lot of the weathering that they had done. I'm not that great at weathering to begin with. I'm not that great with airbrush to begin with, but I wanted to add some of those silver accents and stuff. So I went in, I added some silver accents here and there using the paint that I use for airbrush. And I found it's not that great. It runs real quick. It's really finicky on getting it in there. But for the most part, you get some of that weathered look of the silver on black. I also 3D printed a piece of textured mesh so that I can kind of get the honeycomb look kind of on here. And I go over how I did all of that, but you get this little textured look to it when you did that. And then last was just to weather this guy. So this was kind of brown and black mixed together and then put on here. And this one was a little more difficult just because the print, the yellow used is so bright that it kind of really stands out as being bright. So you really have to add it on there, but not add too much so that you get this dull yellow look. So the yellow is still there, but it's kind of dirty and stuff like that. So this one was more towards looking like dirt. And when Deadpool explains the black on here, it was more blood. So the red on red and black is just kind of there as dirt, but it was a little easier to work with this. But overall, this is what you get when you 3D print them. Again, the hardest part in all of this is going to be just sizing it initially. The weathering and stuff like that, not too difficult. You can handle that without any problems. And no one's going to go up there and say like, oh, that silver right there doesn't look very good. No one looks that. And I've gone to enough Comic Cons with my R2-D2 and stuff. I've gone to a lot of meetups with people who build R2-D2, so they knew the minute details, and nobody goes up and says, that right there, I don't think you did that right. They're more going to be like, oh, how did you do that? That's so cool. Yeah, I got to try that out next time. So don't worry about screwing up the weathering or any of the paint. No one's going to be giving you that kind of detail. They're going to see it at such a high level where you know all the little details of mistakes you've made. No one sees it at that level, so it's not a big deal. But on a scale of like 1 to 10 on difficulties, I'd give these right here 2. Again, my 3-year-old helped me a lot with this. I found when I was gluing in these magnets, on the smaller one, I had smaller magnets anyway, so they glued in real easily. And on the larger one, I'm not sure what happened with the print, but I did have to do a lot of cleanup to these holes. And that was the most time-consuming part. So I spent like an extra hour's worth of effort just cleaning out all these holes so that I can get these magnets to fit. And it was just kind of using an X-Acto knife, using kind of a drill bit to just kind of clean up the holes so that all the magnets would go in. I was hoping I'd get a little better print out of that. I'm not really sure why all the pieces seem to have that issue. But when I went to print this one, I didn't have that issue at all. All the magnet holes were perfect on the first try. Everything glued in really easily. So painting, printing, the print fitting on the print bed, real quick and easy. Painting it was real quick and easy. 3D printing was quick and easy. You can put on supports, basically just let it do auto supports. You didn't have to do anything really crazy, and everything printed well. This guy, I would rate it more like a 5 or a 6. This one took some effort. Because I couldn't get these to fit on the build plate very well, I spent about an hour just trying to get this to fit with the right orientation, with the scale factor that I had to add. And then even then, one of them came out terrible. And so what I had to do there was I tested out using UV resin and the baby powder mixture to smooth out all the layer lines. And that worked out really well. It was actually something that, because I had this issue and I tested that, I'll probably do it with all my 3D prints that are going to be from filament. I have a resin printer also, but the amount of time it took to dry was almost instantaneous. So you can immediately get 3 or 4 layers of resin on here mixed with the baby powder, and one layer on the easy side. So this one only has 1 layer of UV and baby powder mixture, and it came out perfectly smooth, no issues at all. This one, because I had so many issues, there was so much of an issue here in the print, there was an issue here in the print, here in the print there was an issue, and honestly, you couldn't tell that I ran into all those issues, and all the layer lines are completely gone. So even with your bamboo printer, you might run into these issues still. That UV resin, and all I did was just have a little, I have a full resin setup, so I could do in my, but these parts don't fit in my my UV kind of rotating bed setup. So I just had a UV flashlight and just quickly went over, and within 30 seconds, I was ready to put the next layer on. That's how fast that it all dried. And that's coating the entire thing in UV resin with baby powder. So definitely suggest that if you guys are doing that. But overall, definitely well within anyone's range of doing. I do know that in this print, they do have it cut up more. And then I've seen some other people who give STLs have it even cut differently. I wish I'd done those ones, honestly. This one from DO3D, I don't think I would use in the future. I would try another STL package just because of all the little details that I had to get this to fit perfectly, and then all the cleanup that I had to do. But I probably might have had the same problems with the other ones. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, great. After Halloween, which is in a couple days, probably just going to sit on the shelf. If someone ever asks for them, I'll probably give it to them because I don't need all these 3D models sitting around. I have tons of models sitting throughout my entire garage right now as it is. But yeah, watch all the videos. I put all the behind the scene videos of how each one of these steps, basically I come in at night after my kids go to sleep, work on another step, videotape the entire process so that you can watch, and then you guys can get new ideas. You guys can comment on how you did it or how you would do it differently, and then get that feedback going between us. And then if you guys have any suggestion on new projects, I have a ton of new projects coming up. I deal with a lot with robotics, so I have some robot stuff here. I plan to make this guy run autonomously, so I have full electronics already set up for that. There'll be some AI in there, and I plan to make it search around the room, understand its environment, and then ask it, hey, go find this. And based on its knowledge of how it mapped out the room, it will know, okay, I ask it for a book, where's that book located? So that's kind of the next big project I plan to work on for this. I also have a sim rig, and I'm working on force feedback pedals so that I get the feedback not only in the steering wheel, but now in the pedals also. There's another company that came out with that, and so there's a whole DIY version that people have been doing on the side. So working on that also. I have a magic mirror that I have to finish up, get that all done. I done one iteration of it, don't really like it, so I've gone back and redone a lot of it. So get that all out there. So yeah, there's a lot of projects I have coming up in the future. A lot of coding, a lot of, doing 3D stuff, doing some mechanical stuff, doing electrical stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, please subscribe. If you like this video and any of the other videos, please like them. That always helps. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for stopping by.